My vengeance ends now.
God of War 3 is my favorite game of all time.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Okay, yes, it's been said a billion times on my channel. You've heard me say this literally everywhere. It's not even normal anymore. But I've never truly dived deep into what makes this my favorite game of all time. Is it the nostalgia? Is it the combat? Is it the story? Is it the swagger of the white ashy ghost from Sparta?
And you will not be mugging me, Keishani. I will have my tax from the IRS.
So today I thought, why not make a video about why this game is my favorite God of War game and why it's my favorite game of all time. It has a lot to do with the little details that I appreciate in the game. Some small little things that the average player wouldn't even care about much, but you know, I do care about these things. But we'll get there when we get there. For now, you can put on your seatbelts because you're about to witness some next level shilling for this masterful human crafted piece of interactive fiction. This scientifically proven to be best game of all time that was crafted by the team of Sony Santa's Not Real, Monica is a bitch and friends. What made God of War 3 so great for me? Let's find out. So first, I wanted to get the story vibe, approach of the characters, and the world of the game out of the way. The story is basically you playing as the villain destroying this world. You take this beautiful setting and you turn it into this. I'm not gonna dive deep into the story and analyze it. Instead, I've always taken the story for what it is, never taking it too damn seriously and bringing up morals into the conversation. Except sometimes when I argue with friends and commenters about it. It's just kind of fun to make it more serious than what it is sometimes. I frankly love it. I love the philosophy of being the actual villain who's doing bad stuff, killing with no remorse, vengeful and brutal, and all the 9 yards you can think of. I love the approach and how metal this game is, just the hype around literally everything that happens in the game. Poseidon is defeated, defeat him even harder. Helios is defeated, finish him harder. Some asshole interrupts my flight, he is dead in the most metal way possible. Oh, and the people down below have a new mountain, by the way. It is pure action and batshit crazy metal in all the lovely ways possible. It's like these guys feel like they know they're fighting a losing battle. A man who's lost it all, destroying everything and everyone in his path. I love this. No sugarcoating or anything. Pure, raw, power fantasy in all the insane ways that I can go about. The hype is just unmatched. Like fighting Hercules, for example. This man keeps taunting you and you're just there punishing this fool. The moment the battle starts, Kratos doesn't say a single word. And the outcome? Oh, the outcome. It's the same with Hermes. It's like this guy was just in the way, not knowing what he's getting into. This is the only thing Kratos says to Hermes, and from there on, not a single other word comes out of Kratos' mouth.
To catch a fly from the ass of Zeus is not worth my time.
He's like a silent serial killer going through this entire pantheon, and there's something about that I like. You know, it's just a different approach and all. You know, you rarely have this. Rarely do you get to play as the villain, and rarely is it presented in such a high, brutal, spectacle, fantastic, bloody, and eerie way. Most of the things that Kratos does in this game are flat out horrible things that even Kratos himself agrees that they're horrible. I don't enjoy these moments that are just, you know, dark for the sake of being dark. Don't get me wrong. By the end, even he realizes that this didn't bring him no satisfaction. Life simply fucked him, and he fucked it back, and it brought him no satisfaction. But it's just the overall approach that this game has that I love very much. This is a huge aspect that makes me love God of War 3 so much. The purest one-man army ever. Music is backing this all up, by the way, throughout the entire game. The music is one of my favorite things about this entire game. I just need to throw it out of the way and not dive deeper into the music. The way he makes everyone seem like a casual is just something priceless. I fucking love it so much. Nothing more to say, man. He just destroys everyone. But hold that thought. There is something I need to say. There's all that. There's all that metal, hype, crazy, batshit insane, greedy, lustful Kratos in God of War 3. And then there's another side to God of War 3 that makes me love it even more. And it's the Kratos that's in it. I'm talking about the Kratos that is in this Kratos. You know, when you dive deep, there is a Kratos in there if you search hard enough. Now, what do I mean by that? I mean that through all the destruction and power fantasy, at the end of the day, you are Kratos in this game. The same empathetic character you played as in the previous games, God of War 1 and 2. And the thing about this game is that it captures despair in some of the best ways ever. It almost feels unintended how good this is. Like for example, this simple line that starts up the game is supposed to be a killer metal line. It is a very edgy teenager line. But by the end, you realize that is literally his death note. I don't know, it's the look on his face in these moments. A man who probably didn't want things pushed this far, yet they did, yet he also went this far as a repercussion. His attachment to Pandora is something that catches me off guard very beautifully because I can relate to him in this situation in a very fucked up way. Like, I can relate to the desperation he has in here, finally having someone to fight for through all the despair and loss, just to lose that thing again. He's basically losing his daughter for a second time in here. See, when you dive deep into it, you just think that way about it. It's just fucked up. For me, it's just the way he clings on to Pandora's hand. It's just sad that we all know why he's doing this. He sees his daughter in those eyes. This all kinda makes sense. After all the loss, despair, and depression that led him on a path of destruction, not even he thought that one day there will ever be someone he'd fight for. The man has a lot of scenes near the end that shows the true Kratos side to this character, and I truly love it. Like, yes, you just went through all that destruction, but by the end, if you're truly attached to the character, this is what you remember of God of War 3. You do remember the batshit metal shit as well, you know, don't get me wrong, but this last character moment of Kratos it just touches me in all the different ways. What I'm trying to say is that he is relatable. Not in the kill your own cousins, uncles, and grandpas way, no, but in the human nature side, you know? Life sometimes just happens to hit you hard and you go on your path of destruction. Not destroying a pantheon, don't get me wrong, you're not destroying the United States, bro. But you destroy yourself in the process, and sometimes, most of the times, the ones loved around you, you just destroy everyone. In a philosophical type of way, I can relate to this guy because I don't know how to make it more clear that I've been through shit. We've all been through shit, come on. But through all of that, you realize you gain nothing at the end. And this is basically Kratos in this game. Of course, you never truly go as far as Kratos does in this game, but this game shows the full human nature if it went all out. You know, if you just let that demon in you go out, you'd get a Kratos from God of War 3. Kratos in God of War 3 is what you get when you've been warned 50 billion times to not do what you're trying to do, yet you still do it. By the end, there will be nothing but regret. Nothing else. There's a saying by Godot the Blacksmith in Berserk that I really associated with God of War 3. It goes a little something like, hate is a place where a man who can't stand sadness goes. And that phrase just kind of worked with the God of War 3 situation when I was writing the script. I don't know, and it also worked for me, but it works for everyone, you know how it is. I just wanted to say all of that on a script because this video has to come out. It's insane how much I love this game. Now with all that tone, story, and game approach out of the way, we move on to the next thing that I love so much about this game. This is the most important thing that I love about the game design. So what do I mean by game design? Let's find out. From the start of the game to the very end when you stab Zeus, this game just knows how to game. I've done a one-hit KO series for this game where I would restart if I get hit. And if the game wasn't this greatly designed, I wouldn't have tolerated the challenge this much. This game is perfect for a single sitting. The pacing of everything is just lovely. Now when I say pacing, I preface, I don't just mean story pacing, I mean as a whole game design pacing. As in having boss encounters pacing, encounter pacing, platforming pacing, puzzle pacing, and the story pacing all intertwined together in some of the best ways possible that I've ever seen in a video game. Trust me when I say this, something as little as the weapon spacing, for example, is phenomenal. Let's cover it right now for a second. You start out very powerful and strong, something I really love about God of War 3. You start all powerful with the full power fantasy, then you get nerfed when you reach the underworld. I really love this. God of War 2 started this thing. And now from here on, let's look at how beautifully the weapon pacing goes in the game. You just got the best blades ever, the Blades of Exile. These are my favorite of all time in all of God of War. You also have a magic attack right away with them. See how quick this is? You go a little further and you get the Bow of Apollo, a phenomenal damaging tool right at the start. What a nice weapon. You go a little further and you get the Rage mode. Go a little further and you acquire the Claws of Hades in the most beautiful fashion. See? That's just the underworld and you're coming out of that with 3 weapons and a Rage mode. come on. Then you go through the game where the pacing takes a short break, but you still get your tools. You get the head of Helios, you go a little further, you get the Hermes boots, 2 awesome items. The game keeps throwing, awesome, amazing new tools your way. Fast forward a little after Hermes and you get the best secondary weapon known to man. The Nemean Cestus is acquired, and at this point, you're just layered with character depth. The arsenal is packed, but it's still not even done. After taking down a giant grandpa, you're rewarded with the Nemesis Whip, a really awesome setup weapon with a really nice magic attack. You see, the game is designed so well in the weapon pacing department. It is just unmatched in how fun it is. Everything you get is effective in its own way, and I just love it very much. Now, this was the awesome pacing that the game has for the weapon acquirement. It also has all the other things I mentioned paced out so well. Like the boss's pacing, for example, the encounters and how they're paced out. They never truly feel repetitive. You always get introduced to something new. There's always a new thing getting introduced every encounter, and every boss fight is just so different from the other before it. It is very, very lovely. It goes the same for the puzzles and all the story bits as well, the cutscenes and all that. Everything in this game is just paced out in such a beautifully perfect way. I cannot let go of this game. The game's game design is the biggest aspect on why this is my favorite game of all time. Now let's touch on to something else, some other aspect about the game design. The other aspect I want to talk about regarding the game design is how arcadey this game is. You have artifacts in your pause menu to spice things up in your replay runs. You got cute things like costumes that affect the gameplay stats. It's just very beautiful. You have awesome side challenges that add more to the game and capitalize off of the game's amazing combat. And finally, you have the combat arena. This is the most in-depth, big, large combat arena in all of God of War. The game just simply loves to be a game. It's in its way of approach in some spots too, like this guitar hero spot in the Chamber of the Flame. Like, what even is this? Why is this here? Because I fucking don't know. I love it. It's a game. It just does what it wants. The game just goes so far in its game design, departments. Like, you may think it's just this game design right here where you're on the ground. This is the moment-to-moment gameplay. But no, you also have Icarus Dance where you're gliding up. Or, the last stretch before the Cerberus fight where you're going down and you have to, not take a hit from all this. Then there's also the standard platforming that switches up the game. You're playing 5 games in one while you play God of War 3. It is that amazing. I love it when a video game is trying to be a game and is showing to be a game. It keeps on reminding you that it's a game without, having any shame in it. It just has a goofy section like this, for example, and it just goes with it. Now, there are other countless things that I just appreciate about this game so much, like the QTEs, for example. Such a beautiful choice to put the buttons on the side of the screen. You've heard this in every other retrospective, but I just need to preface, it's very, very good. You get to witness the action while the button is being on your peripheral view. You don't need to, actually look in the middle of the screen and press a button. Moving on to another aspect of the game design that I value and love so much. I like this in every game. God of War 3 has my favorite, and it's the feedback and sound design of everything. The plume attack that Kratos does has never sounded this good before. Every button press, every action, every step that Kratos takes feels heavy and has impact. The sound of the Nemean Cestus is a very good example that I'm gonna bring up right now. Here's what happens with every consecutive hit of the Cestus. For every punch you get a screen shake that gives the feeling of feedback. Kratos' movement slows down from the heavy impact, sound effect on the Cestus traveling towards the target, sound effect of a roaring lion as it hits the target, sound effect of the Cestus making contact with the enemy, the hit counter shakes with the hit, and finally the enemy bleeds aggressively with the hit. This all happens with one punch of the Cestus. All of that just mentioned happens for one punch out of the many that you're gonna throw in this game. Now, the Nemean Cestus was just an example of many other things in this game that have great feedback and sound. Things in this game just have such a punch to them regardless of what they are. You can really try to play next time and focus on the impact behind everything that happens. Hell, pausing the game has some of the best visuals and sound to it. Shit, the pause menu itself alone sells the game for me. Look at how beautiful this is. The feedback is just prevalent, and it's just a satisfying simulator. This game is just, it is very satisfying. That's what I'm trying to get across. Now, that was the feedback and the sound design aspect of the game design that I love very, very much. Really, there are a lot of aspects in the game design that I really, really like. I'm not gonna cover all of them, as we'll be here literally all day, so I'm just gonna list them in a quick fire list right now. Manual saves allowing me to skip cutscenes and replay bosses. Puzzle rooms that can be fastly done or flat out skipped if you want to on replay playthroughs. Artifacts to spice up replay walkthroughs. Opening chests with one hand. And finally, Kratos having some overpowered agility compared to any other God of War game. He's very fast. Oh my god. And now that we reached the end of the game design portion of this video, we move on to what truly makes me love this game more than anything else in the world. The combat. Now, I saved this one for last because, god, where do I even begin? I say this is the last aspect, but there is actually another aspect after this, but I just didn't know how to name it, so yeah. Let's go over the combat right now. And I mean, let's go over the combat. Man, I have to write the script. Oh god, I do have to write the script. Okay, look, I'm not gonna go over a lot of stuff that everybody knows about. I may mention them here and there, but I won't stay on a widely known aspect of the combat that even my grandma knows at this point. Instead, I'm just gonna mention them as bullet points and start talking about them passionately. I guess that's the best way to go about this, because we'll literally be here all day if I just write down a script on every little detail I like. First up, what I love so much about God of War 3 and my favorite special attack by Kratos ever, the combat grapple, the Hyperion Ram. Now, this is an attack that was originally supposed to be put in God of War 2, but they couldn't do it due to memory issues, I think. The combat grapple is unlocked the moment you get the Blades of Exile, at level 1, which is something I really, really like. The thing has range. No matter where the target is, the moment the blades connect, Kratos is traveling to him. The move has a lot of really awesome hit properties, like interrupting enemy attacks, causing a sweet knockback on impact, hitting multiple enemies at once, and a very nice tool for closing your distance with the enemy. I especially love it a lot because it works on every hitbox. Doesn't matter if it's a boss or a normal enemy. You can lash yourself into it and ram it with your shoulder. If it's a hitbox, you can lash yourself onto it and ram it with your shoulder. Just lovely stuff. It is available in different variations for other weapons too, but I mostly want to focus on the Blades of Exile version. A really nice maneuvering tool. Hell, I love all the Blades of Exile moves. They are my favorite blades ever. Something else I really like about God of War 3 is grabbing an undead and using him as a battering ram. The attack is called Battering Ram, because it's a battering ram. This is honestly one of the best compensations for taking out the collision scaling that God of War 1 and 2 had. The move gives a lot of freedom and speed in any case where you might use it. Here's the thing I love very much about it. It gives you iframes, it gives you freedom in where you want to go, you deal sweet damage and knockback to the enemies that get caught in it. You can even lead the enemy that you're carrying to a wall to get this special brutal kill right here. It's very, very awesome. Or you can press X while carrying the enemy to throw him in whatever direction you want. And the most important thing about it is that it's not affected by difficulty, meaning it does the same damage regardless of difficulty. Hell, the game itself loves to move very much, and it just shows. They had it in the teaser trailer. They have a special challenge designed all around it. It is a very lovely move. I love it very much. Now, with the extension to the battering ram that I just talked about, let's talk about the grabs that I also love the most out of any other God of War. It is the same grab system as God of War 1 and God of War 2, but more. With the introduction of the ride mechanic where you control the enemy to destroy the others, and the lovely Gorgon grab petrifying everyone around, and the battering ram on the undeads, I just can't help but appreciate it more and more than any other God of War game. That's it. I just don't want to dive deep into the grab system of this game. It is very, very beautiful. Let's move on to the next thing, man. The next thing we're moving on to is gonna be none other than the Bow of Apollo, one of the best weapons of all time. Now, I've made a whole ass video talking about the misconception about this weapon. The majority think that this is simply an ebony and ivory clone from Devil May Cry. While the influence is of course there, the philosophy is widely different. This is not like ebony and ivory that is used for, chip damage and for slow damage and just to hold an enemy in the air infinitely. No, this right here is some of the nicest DPS in the entire game. It deals some real nice damage and just destroys enemies. It's also very fast. So picture this, the faster you mash the button, the more damage you deal. It's that great. Now the bow of Apollo doesn't just stop with the rapid firing there. You have the beautiful, amazing and fantastic Inferno mechanic in this game. You hold the bow shot and when you release, Kratos shoots an arrow that makes the enemy catch fire. Now this enemy starts wiggling around like crazy, like he's a drunk bastard or something. If that said enemy that has fire on him touches another enemy, the other enemy also catches fire, and you kind of see the drill here. These enemies keep running into each other, burning each other, and you essentially can end an encounter with just one arrow if you're just smart enough. This is deadass one of the nicest mechanics of all time in God of War. Like, it's just amazing. I really like it. It is very unique. It's like applying a status effect on one enemy, but that status effect gets, spread along the other enemies. Very unique and lovely. I really love the bow of Apollo. Let's move on. Now the next thing that I have a huge thing for is the soul summoning system with the Claws of Hades. I love using the souls in all their weird ways. I'm even doing a Claws of Hades only run, and these souls are the best thing to ever use in this run. So many diverse souls that you can just choose from. They're not all diverse, but there's a lot of unique ones in there that I quite like. Like, I don't need to dive deeper into this. Just finding out nice places to use the Gorgon Serpent, for example, or using a nice, spot to use the Cerberus in, or the Archer in it, or the Olympus Sentry, or using the Cyclops, or hell, the Centaur General. Where do I begin? Let's not even begin, because this will never end. I have covered all this in the magic comparison video. You can go ahead and watch this after this video, please. Thank you very much. From here on out, there are a lot of things that I'm sure I'm even gonna leave out and forget about in this script, but I'm just gonna list them in a quick fire list again, although not as quick fiery as the other one before this. So here goes. The first one is a very important mechanic. I truly value it, and is the wall splat mechanic, where the enemy hits a wall and gets paused in the air for you. One of my all-time favorite little details and gameplay mechanics in every action game. It just stuns the enemy in the air and makes room for a lot of lovely setups. Like, you have all the room and time in the world to just jump and grab that enemy that is stuck with the wall in the air. It is very lovely. Next up, I love how the game has a lot of ring out spots, just like God of War 1. I love these explodable pods that you can use in combat. The enemy design is my favorite in the series. The bosses are some of my favorites in all of gaming. I love the encounters of this game more than any other God of War game. The costumes are really nice for a game change. Challenge runs are the best in God of War 3. I love the hit properties and how things are intricately made for God of War 3. The triangle attack change, for example. It works in God of War 3 the best, while not working as crazy good in other God of War games that have it. The quick swap weapon switching. I love the rage cancels. I love the artifact system in this game. I absolutely adore how fast and crazy Kratos is in this game. Dashing on the ground is at its best in this game. Dashing in the air is also a new thing that you get. Even when performing moves, like, this man's agility in this game is unmatched. Even when performing moves, look at how much distance he's covering by attacking with the Blade of Olympus, or even how much distance he covers with the Nemean Cestus. One of the many things that makes the Cestus my favorite weapon is the distance Kratos travels as he's aggressively hitting the enemy with might. And for the last thing that I'm gonna mention, I'm sure I've missed some other details, but let's mention this last point right here. The last thing being the mini bosses and how much those shine in God of War 3. This game just shines with mini bosses. All the Chimera encounters are phenomenal, especially the second one. Same thing with the Cerberus encounters. First it's a double boss, then you fight him here in this amazing boss fight with satyrs and stuff. The mini bosses truly just shine in this game, man. I just don't know when to begin. What can I say? And now, with the combat done, we reach the final segment of this video. I didn't know what to call this one, so I decided to put it after the combat, but I'm gonna briefly touch on it. I'm gonna be calling it the full circle aspect of God of War 3. Now, what do I mean by God of War 3's full circle philosophy? What I mean by this aspect of the game is just the finale feel that the game has. Game really feels like the end of the world, and it does not hold back with the feeling or with the references or the nods to the past. And here's the thing about the nods though, they're not just nods. They're so beautiful and poetic. They're not just nods to the past, they also have beautiful substance. For example, this first ever Ares nod at the start of the game. The game respected him enough to make a beautiful gate for him outside, and when you enter, he's buried in the mountain. And then there's a book that you can also read about him. Then we move on a little further. Zeus striking down Kratos with the first ever spell that he gives Kratos in God of War 1. The very first time Kratos ever spoke to Zeus has now led to the two right here, right this moment. The lightning bolt that Zeus gives to Kratos, he gives it back in here in a different fashion, knocking down Kratos and Gaia with it. This is then followed by another instant poetic coincidence: Gaia's betrayal to Kratos. The one who saved him from death left him to die this time. See where I'm going with this? Is not just nods and references and past stuff coming back to bite these characters. It just has a beautiful substance built around it. This Hades statue in the underworld is not just generically put in a place as a reference. No, it's the statue from God of War 1 Hades at Hades. See how beautiful this is? Now, other games would have had this nod to the statue and left it alone like this, but not God of War 3, because the actual God of War 1 version of the statue still exists in this game on the back of Kratos later on. See? Full circle. But let's not jump ahead. Persephone lying in the palace of Hades. You see how beautiful this is? On to a grand one, snatching away Hades' soul. It's a one-to-one recreation with the original scene from God of War 2 where Hades snatches away Atlas' soul. A pure one-to-one, and Kratos avenges the man in a poetic, unspoken way. Kratos kept his promise to Atlas, stole back the soul from Hades in a one-to-one scene. See how karma strikes evildoers? Hades paid his soul for all the hurting he brought. Never, not in a million years would Hades ever imagine himself in a situation like this. His soul getting extracted with his own two weapons, a signature move that he used against all of his enemies so far. And now we finally fast forward to Kratos, and man, this is the best piece of reference in gaming history. I'm just gonna go over it like bullet points and you connect them all together and just get overwhelmed with all this info that I'm about to drop. So let's start. Kratos, the titan you once climbed so slowly, is now being climbed with ease and speed in God of War 3. Kratos with the temple still on his back, full of Easter eggs and nods to the temple in God of War 1. Everything is still there and a memory still left in time beyond remembrance. Here is Kratos destroying the temple intentionally this time, killing his demons without much thought put into it. Kratos, the same Kratos who tried to eat Zeus when he was a baby. The stone that Rhea put in place of Zeus didn't just stay there as any ordinary stone. No, it poetically and alternatively turned into the power that Zeus would later possess as he went along in the years. It was the Omphalos stone, lightning same as Zeus lightning, inferior a little bit to the actual lightning of Zeus, but that's the main point of the Omphalos stone, a replacement for the god of lightning. Zeus. Kratos, the one who made a habit of killing his own kin, is now being killed by his own kin. Kratos, the man who did not learn from his lesson, eating an Olympian. You get all kinds of severe diarrhea. Kratos' situation for this last one is very, very nice. Where once an angry Olympian had the intent of vaporizing titans in the pits of Tartarus using the Blade of Olympus was a thing, this right here is the sequel. The perfect full circle one-to-one recreation of what Zeus did to the Titans in this exact spot with the exact weapon and the exact blood. Only this time Kratos does it in the same spot, pits of Tartarus with the same weapon, Blade of Olympus with the same intent, killing a Titan, while being the same blood, the blood of Zeus. That day, fate saved Kratos, and Kratos did not die in that fateful day. Instead, he got enslaved. This right here is the full roundabout detour that he made throughout history, just to die by the son of Zeus in the same spot with the same weapon. See how many threads of an old time are intertwined in this one segment? The game just manages to make this a day of fate for the entirety of the past God of War games in all the lovely ways. This game respects the legacy that is God of War and keeps up with the references and nods all the way to the end. The fear section, that is just an explosion of emotions for Kratos. And then even all the way after that, Kratos taking his own life the same way he does at the start of God of War 1. The nods don't even end right there. Instead, we have opposite dynamics between Kratos and Athena, where once Kratos was the one who pulls out the blade from Athena's stomach with full feelings of despair and sadness. This time it's Athena who pulls out the Blade of Olympus from Kratos' stomach with full disappointment in the Spartan that she's been deceiving. This is all so beautifully choreographed as well that I'm not even willing to tap into. This game has another aspect that makes it my favorite. It's just the way things look, how powerful everything is. Kratos' physique in this game is my favorite of all time. He's just so buffed up, so ready to kill, so locked in. It's not even normal anymore. But to round it back to the ending, it's still not over with the nods and Easter eggs and stuff, as you can have all sorts of interpretations for this ending. Like for example, this part right here where Kratos does this little thing. Did he smirk? Did he laugh at Athena? Or was he just in pain and he couldn't handle the blood building up to come out? Or you know, the interpretation you can have as a whole for after he stabs himself. Why is this trail of blood leading to the cliff? Is it him fulfilling his big goal and throwing himself from the cliff, you know, as a nod to God of War 1's ending? Like, you can just go with that interpretation, or with the actual interpretation, the canon that happened, where he survives and goes to Norse. You know, but at the time when this game released, there were no other plans for God of War, so you never truly know what to interpret at this point. The game is packed. This whole full circle aspect, I just didn't know what to name it. I'm just gonna keep on naming it the full circle aspect of the game. It's just a very nice philosophy the game follows throughout the game. Like for example, we have the Chamber of the Flame. It feels like a send-off the game offers. The chamber crumbling at the end of the game is symbolic of this world getting destroyed. You get introduced to this chamber full of Greek lore and info, beautiful architecture, and it all gets destroyed by the end of the game by Kratos. The world slowly dies and gets worse and worse as you go on destroying. It's just a phenomenal piece. Packed to the limit. The best full package of a media of all time in my opinion. Whatever Kratos touches, he destroys. You start the prologue like this, and it ends like this. You visit the underworld like this, everything under control. You come out of it like this, and this affects the outside world as well. You visit the city of Olympia, this beautifully vibrant place, and it looks like this, and you make the exit while the place starts looking like this. The pits of Tartarus, the breathing thing in the pits of Tartarus was Kronos. You exit that place with a dead corpse of Kronos. The labyrinth is all spread apart. You fix it all together, then break it all together again. And finally, the Chamber of the Flame, where you enter it and it's full of life with the moonlight shining through the giant blue dummy thick windows. This beautiful chamber with the most beautiful interpretation of Greek lore and history and all that, turning into this by the end. The whole world just doesn't seem right by the end, and I love it very much for that. And now, finally, I guess I'm being clear here. I'm sure there are 500 other things that are in this game that are all in my mind, it's all in my mental, that makes this game my favorite, but I truly believe that the point's been across. It's been across and then some right now. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video today. I really enjoyed writing this script, and hopefully you guys learned some new things in this video about the game. Hope y'all had a fun time watching this video. Now, if you don't mind, I'm gonna go play God of War 3 again and again and again. It has been your Extreme Gamer Zesty. Peace!